Today we're tackling something that I know can be kind of a stressful topic for a lot of people,
Yeah.
but it's something we all have to deal with.
Yeah. It's one
Finances,
of those things, right? We all need it. We all use it. But talking about it, sometimes it feels a little...
taboo.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what we're doing today. We're diving deep into this source, financial empowerment, strategies for taking control of your money and trying to take away not just the tips, but like, what are the actual mindset shifts that we can make
Exactly.
to feel more empowered?
I love that because it's not just about, pinching pennies here and there. It's about changing your whole relationship with money. And that's what real empowerment is all about.
Okay, so let's jump right in. This source starts off strong, and I love this. It talks about changing your, get this, financial paradigm. Like, whoa, what does that even mean?
Right? It sounds intense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it really boils down to this. Our thoughts and beliefs about money, they have a huge impact on how we handle it, on our actual financial reality,
So, like, if you're walking around thinking, ugh, I'm terrible with money,
Yeah.
or I'll never be rich.
Exactly. Those thoughts become self-fulfilling prophecies. It's like you're almost setting yourself up for failure before you even start.
Okay, so then how do we break free from that? If we've got these negative beliefs about money, how do we shift the script?
Well, awareness is the first step, right? Just recognizing those negative thoughts when they pop up and then challenge them. Ask yourself, is this really true? Or is this just something I've been telling myself for years?
It's like, are we letting those beliefs run the show?
Totally. So instead of I'll never be good with money, what if you tried, I'm learning and growing in my financial journey?
I like that. That's more of an empowered statement.
Right. And it opens up the possibility for change.
It does. Okay, so shifting those beliefs is key. I'm getting that. But then the source hits us with this super practical tip.
Oh, yeah.
Pay yourself first.
That's a classic, and for good reason.
Right. And I always thought that meant, okay, like at the end of the month, whatever's left over, I'll put that into savings. But this is saying,
Yep.
You got to pay yourself first before any other bills or anything.
Before anything else. Make it a non-negotiable.
Okay. So how do we actually like walk that out? What does that look like practically?
Okay, so imagine this. You get paid, right? The very first thing you do is set aside a certain amount, whatever you can comfortably manage, even if it's small.
Okay.
And that goes directly into your savings account, your investment account, whatever your long-term goal is.
So it's almost like you're tricking your brain.
A little bit, yeah. But in a good way.
Yeah. It's like before you can even think about spending it.
Right. You're making that commitment to your future self. And, there's actually this whole psychological thing called present bias, where we tend to overvalue immediate gratification.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that.
So this is like, okay, future me, you matter too.
I love that. But what about folks who are already feeling stretched thin? Like, pay yourself first sounds great. But what if there's barely anything left after the bills are paid?
Yeah, I get that. It's a real concern for a lot of people, right? And the source also mentions earning additional income, and that might sound daunting, I know.
Yeah, like, get a second job, really.
Well, not necessarily a second job, but think about it this way. How can you diversify your income streams? Maybe there's something you're passionate about, something you're good at.
Yeah.
Could you turn that into a little side hustle?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So instead of thinking, oh, I got to get another job, it's more about, like, getting creative.
Exactly. It's about taking control. Maybe you can do some freelance work online or sell crafts or tutor kids in a subject you love.
Like, tap into those talents and passions.
Right. You might be surprised what opportunities are out there, and even a little extra income can add up over time.
Okay, so I'm seeing the bigger picture here. It's about taking control, shifting your mindset, exploring options. And this actually ties into another point the source makes about, and this might sound a bit obvious, but it's so easy to forget adjusting your lifestyle and really knowing the difference between what you want and what you actually need.
That's huge.
Right. Think about it. Think about your last 3 purchases. Were they truly enhancing your life? Or were they just impulse buys?
That's a great question to ask yourself. And that's where budgeting comes in, not as this restrictive, scary thing, but as a tool for making conscious choices. It's like a roadmap for your money.
Okay, so budgeting doesn't have to be the enemy. It's more about being intentional and making sure your money is working for you and not the other way around.
Exactly. When you track your expenses, you might be surprised where your money is actually going.
Yeah.
And then you can make adjustments and maybe even free up some cash to put towards those financial goals we were talking about.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so we've talked about shifting our beliefs, paying ourselves first, exploring extra income, being intentional with our spending. But let's talk about plastic.
Ooh, credit cards.
Yes, because the source brings up this whole thing about the psychological traps of credit cards.
Yeah.
And how they can really lead to overspending.
Absolutely. That buy now, pay later mentality can be dangerous.
Right. But then there's all this talk about using credit cards for points and building credit history. So how do we balance that with the source's advice to stick to cash?
It's a good question, and I think it comes down to this. Credit cards can be a useful tool,
Okay.
but only if you use them responsibly. Think of it like this. You get your credit card bill, can you pay it off in full right then and there?
Okay.
If the answer is yes, you're probably using credit responsibly. You're treating it more like a debit card.
Okay, so it's not about demonizing credit cards, but being really strategic.
Exactly. The key is to avoid those high interest charges. That's where things can spiral.
Got it. So as we wrap up this deep dive into financial empowerment,
Yeah.
what's the one thing, like the golden nugget, you want to leave our listeners with?
I'd say this. Your mindset is everything. Imagine what you could achieve if you truly believed in your financial potential. See money not as something to be feared, but as a tool to create the life you want.
A tool. I like that.
Yeah, it's about empowerment, about taking control, and it all starts with changing your thinking.
Amazing. So much to think about. That's it for this deep dive, everybody. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a whole new topic.
See you then.
Bye.